And let's just come up with one more, guys, and we'll move on.
Are we coming up with new ones or adding, or,
Either or.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I think this covers quite a lot of it, actually.
Okay. I just thought maybe generate solutions. And I think you're right. I think we've covered most of it.
I like your
She
She
fine.
said implement.
I
Yeah,
didn't
same
say it
thing.
loud, but
Implement,
Implement and monitor.
implement,
monitor and adjust, just like you do
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
classroom.
monitor, adjust.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Right.
Implement, monitor, adjust. Okay, so that's what that says down there. Implement, monitor, adjust. Good. Can I get one more time check from you, Ms. Radford?
154.
Okay, all right. So we're doing pretty good. We've got a few more minutes. We'll get started then, I guess, to the next bullet point that's on your agenda, which is the norms of collaboration. And I have a handout for you. So take one, pass it around, and what I was thinking we could do is get into some groups, and see, because this is 7 of the tried and true norms of collaboration. We may not be able to cover all 7 of them here in the next 10 minutes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. So if we could just cover 2 of these, that would be a good, I think, stopping point, and then we can pick this back up with finishing the other 5, and then maybe take another look at making sure we covered this thoroughly. I'll take a look, make sure we did, and then we'll be done for the day. I'll tell you what, if Ms. Barker, if you'll pick one of those norms, and Ms. Barrett, if you'll pick one, and see if you can kind of put it into layman's terms, 2 of these norms of collaboration.
Okay, paraphrasing, putting it in your own words. So that everyone in the group understands.
Okay, so the purpose is to make sure that everyone in the group understands, and it helps members of a team hear and understand each other as they evaluate data and formulate decisions. It helps to reduce group tension by communicating the attempt to understand. Okay, so an example would be, so you're suggesting. So if you're coming up with something you feel passionate about, or you think we should do, I'll say, so you're suggesting, and then I paraphrase it as a tool to.
Helps to have a conversation as opposed to just waiting until you get to talk, but recognizing what someone else had to say as well.
So, okay, yes ma'am. So it's a way to, yeah, okay.
And I choose pausing because when I'm with my kids one-on-one, I do a lot of pausing. That's basically, and you know, like sometimes when I take them to my room, that's the purpose of my pausing, because I have to spend more time with the one child that I'm with, and I get them time and to tell me to discuss, you know, to slow down, because they have to slow down because they can't go at the pace of the other children. That's why pausing is a good one for me.
Yes ma'am, pausing, okay?
Because you have that quality one-on-one
one,
time with them.
Can you give me an example of how you do that?
Like whenever the teacher, like you the teacher, and you go over your, like, which we do a lot, then I'll take my, like maybe 1 or 2, depends on, to my room, and I can spend more time talking about what you already talked about, whereas you have the other kids and y'all may be able to move on, and mine has to take a little more time, so I have to pause and take them out and discuss what you already discussed.
Yes
again.
ma'am, yes ma'am. So how does that translate to us?
I think it gives you time to fully consider those whys.
Yes.
Why are we not doing well on this TEAC? Well, that's a really big concept, and you have to think about how much you know your kids and
Yes,
where they're at, so.
Or even just taking in what somebody else says. I mean,
Yeah.
like Ms. Matchler says something and we kind of slow it down a little bit,
Mhm.
like, okay, well, this is what she means by that, or whatever. I think just keeping it at a, like you said, a slow pace. So
Even
we
having,
can- Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
even having like a meetup in a week
Right,
gives me time to sort of digest and think about.
What we talked
What we
about.
talked about, and then sometimes come up with better solutions, or often come up with better solutions with time.
Okay, so what you're saying is, it's a process of slowing it down, making sure we're being thorough.
mhm.
Excellent. So then I feel like this is a pretty good place to stop. When we take a look at that diagram, that flow chart, just so as we move to the last part of this meeting, you have the foundation. And what we talked about was the data process. Does everybody feel like they understand, generally speaking, the data process? Okay, and then we've gone over roles and responsibilities of the data team. But before that, we talked a little bit about our campus and a few considerations that we'll go into more detail in the meetings to come. We talked about roles and responsibilities, and then we began talking about the 7 norms of collaboration, in which we covered 2 of those. So when we start our next meeting, we can pick up with the other 5 and then move to the next task for laying the foundation. Eventually, we'll get into the data, and we'll get really, really specific and scientific. Does anybody have anything they want to say before we end this meeting, convene this meeting? Okay, I want to thank y'all for coming. I really do. I appreciate it a lot, and I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you very much.